Hello, I was muted. Okay, I fixed it before I got boomered completely. Good morning, everyone. How are you? Uh-oh, looks like my Wi-Fi is failing me. I hope you guys can see me and hear me. I am starting out this morning in a way that I don't normally like to start out. I'm angry. I'm angry because there's breaking news that I didn't even put in the description because it just happened and I wrote about it on PJ Media. I hit publish right before coming live. I was talking to one of my editors, Chris Queen. You guys know Chris. He sent this story out to us and said, hey, if anybody wants to cover this, it's happening now. There's breaking news. The kidnapped Americans in Mexico have been found. 2 of them are dead. 2 of them have survived. 1 has an injury. It is an incredibly sad story. Kidnapped 12 minutes away from the Texas border. What a terrible thing to wake up to today. I was hoping that they would find them alive. This story is incredible. It's incredibly terrible. And please hit that like and subscribe button and share the stream if you can. I didn't get a chance to really put it out there. Locals, the live chat is going, meganfox.locals.com. And if you are watching on Rumble, welcome to Rumble. And you know, those Rumble rants for pants, they help. And guess what? YouTube memberships now work for this program. So you can join on YouTube. I have no idea what a YouTube membership does, but we're going with it. I know there's fun emojis in there. And oh yeah, that's what I forgot to do. I forgot to send my notice to Locals. Hold on. All right, and then we're going to get into this Americans kidnapped in Mexico story because, man, this pisses me off and it hits close to home. My husband has had to travel to Mexico for work. He used to travel quite a bit, and he had to go through kidnap training as a part of, for his work, because this is something that executives face in Mexico quite often. The cartel will kidnap people for ransom. Normally, they don't kill them. Normally, it's about ransom. It's about getting money from the companies who pay to get people back. But the training itself is incredibly scary. They actually kidnap you on the street, and you're trained on how to survive and how to get through it. But just it's incredible. As a wife with like little small children at home, here I am being told, that my husband has to go through this kidnapping training, and like he was telling me about it at the time. This was several years ago, and I just remember thinking, and I'm supposed to let you walk out the door? Why? We're going into that godforsaken country. Why? Well, wait till you hear why these Americans were in Mexico. Hold on, let me just send this over to locals real quick. Rumble needs to get going. Where are my Rumble peeps? Everybody's feeling lazy today, I guess. Live now. Okay. All right, I'm back. Looks like the connection. Hold on. It looks like I might be having connection problems on StreamYard. Hold on. Because my hair is bothering me. For crying out loud. This is just all a big pain in the ass. No, not that way. Sorry. Okay. I think StreamYard's connection is slow. It's blurry for you? Okay, hold on a second. I'm going to check something in the settings. We've got a great show today. We're going to talk about Brian Kohberger. The women are going cuckoo for him, just like they did for Ted Bundy, and it's really gross, and we're going to talk about it and try to shame them. I'm going to kink shame people who are into murderers, because that's ridiculous. Stop it. I got to run a test real quick on my computer and see what the hell is happening here. I may have to back out and come right back. Hang on one second. There it is. You know, I have too many windows open. That's another problem. I'm going to get rid of those right now. I was working right before I came on here, which is why everything's open, and that could be part of it. So let's do a test real quick and see what it says. Okay. Looking good so far. Nope. Packet loss is good. Don't have any. It's at 0. So I don't know. Let's hope that it just works itself out. I'm going to close a bunch of windows and hopefully it will work out. All right. Those of you on locals right now, hey, what's up? I see you in the chat. Thanks for being here. And if you are not following me on locals, go to meganfox.locals.com. And we're doing all sorts of fun things over there, like cooking streams, true crime movie streams, doing true crime documentaries. And in fact, get this, Colonel Kurtz, Kristen from Colonel Kurtz, has agreed to watch at least one episode of Phoenix Rising with us. If you want to watch Phoenix Rising, which is the Marilyn Manson documentary that HBO should be sued for allowing to air. The potato image. What are you talking about? Potato image, Linux Charms. What are you talking about? I rebooted. Megan's blurry. She sounds like a Japanese movie. All right, hold on. I'll be right back. All right. Is it any better? Are we good now? Are we good? Are we good? Is it better? Or am I still blurry? It looks like it's better. Do I sound like I'm underwater? Okay, it's better. All right. Sometimes you just have to back out of StreamYard and come back in. I don't know. I don't know what the problem is. Okay, let's move on. Mexico. I've got this video to play for you. I don't know if you know about this, but the video was caught. The kidnapping was caught on video. Let's go over to pjmedia.com where I write my columns almost every day. Should be writing them more often. All right. You can go to pjmedia.com, click on columnist, click on my name, and you will find it. Here's my new article, Breaking Kidnapped Americans in Mexico, 2 dead, 2 survived. There's a video in this article that we got to watch.
Mexican soldiers are searching for 4 Americans kidnapped across the border. And tonight, the State Department is working to try to bring them home.
As CBS 2's Dick Brennan reports, their kidnapping may be a case of mistaken identity. A nearby camera captured the moment that 4 Americans were kidnapped at gunpoint. They were traveling in a minivan with North Carolina plates when they came under fire. A woman is seen being pushed into the back of the truck by a gunman. 2 more people who appear wounded are dragged aboard. This happened on Friday in Matamoros, Mexico, about a 12-minute drive from Brownsville, Texas. Mexico's president says the Americans were there to buy cheaper medicine, something hundreds of thousands of U.S. citizens do each year. But instead, they ended up in the crossfire between 2 groups.
I'm sorry, did you hear what I just heard? Did anybody hear that? Anybody hear what I just heard? That Americans go to Mexico to get affordable medicine? What timeline am I in? How did I wake up in a nightmare where Americans have to go to Mexico to get anything? Again, this is something that we can blame on Big Pharma. Put Pfizer on trial for putting Americans in danger because they have to cross the border to get their insulin or whatever. You know what, Sarah? I don't care if they've been doing it for years. I don't care. I think that's insane. It's insane. The fact that Americans are driving 12 miles, just 12 miles from the border of Texas, by the way. This is where this happened, 12 miles away. People who are cash strapped in America are going to Mexico to get medicine. You know what else people were going to Mexico to get medicine for? They were going to get ivermectin because in Mexico, the government was handing out ivermectin and vitamin D. You know, the thing we're not allowed to talk about that actually does help for COVID that they've now all had to admit. Oh yeah, it does actually help. It does actually reduce your chances of getting serious COVID. But yeah, we're talking about the same place where you drink the water, you could die. Yes, Fubar Temp. This is incredible to me. It's incredible to me that anyone in America can actually get better or cheaper medicine in Mexico. I mean, this is not the America I grew up in. No, it isn't. No, it isn't. The America I grew up in, people from Mexico, including all of their leaders, the president, all the higher ups, the rich people, all come to America to get their health care. And if we're starting to go the other way around, oh yeah, the people getting surgery, you know where I first heard this, that Americans were going to Mexico to get surgery? From that LuLaRoe documentary. The LuLaRoe, did anybody see that? You know those ugly leggings that were all the craze for a while, the pyramid scheme? Well, the woman who owned that company, she was this Mormon woman. She was kind of nuts. I don't remember her name. But she went to Mexico to get some kind of stomach stapling surgery. And then she was encouraging the women who worked for her to do the same. She was like sponsoring trips to this plastic surgeon in Mexico. Look, no shade on Mexico. I'm sure that Mexico has a lot of good things to offer. Besides, not the cartel, obviously not the cartel kidnapping you and dragging you away. But wow, again, this is one of these things that really bothers me because it just shows that American exceptionalism and what the American dream was, it's just not the same anymore. It's crumbling. It's crumbling. The American experiment is crumbling, period. If Americans are forced to drive over the border and risk their lives, knowing there's cartel operating right over the border without interference from police, without any, and they're still doing it because they're risking all of that to go and get their cheap insulin or their cheap whatever, or ivermectin that we can't get here. It's over, folks. It's over. I can't be the voice. God, this is so bad. In my head, I'm hearing Rush saying, "It's never time to panic. It's not time to panic." And I'm looking at his picture right now and I'm thinking, I know you would be telling me it's not time to panic and to be of good cheer. However, Rush, I can't do it. Americans are going to Mexico to buy medicine. What? Does it get much worse than this? Oh, God. C. Suter, thank you for the super chat. Says, I'm just hearing about this and that makes me mad. Why can't I make these glasses get clean? I've cleaned them 3 times and they're still smeared. I think it's the excess anger. I've got anger and it's not allowing me to clean the glasses properly. My anger is sticking to the lenses and so I can't see. Dang it. What is happening here? Anyway, we're waiting for people to trickle in anyway before we get into it. So enjoy the stream of me trying to clean my glasses. I should have put my contacts in. I wouldn't have this problem if I had just had the wherewithal to put my contacts in. Nope, still smeared. I don't know what I'm going to do today. I need anger wipes. Seriously, everything is smeared. I can't see properly. I don't know why my this is a little, let me use the other one. Maybe the other one is cleaner. I have like this special cloth, and it's supposed to do the thing where it takes all the streaks off. Is that better? Okay, this one was the clean one. I have to put that one in the wash. That makes sense. Okay, it worked now. All right, let's see. Oh, Ellie, that's good news. Okay, Ellie says, Megan, there are pharma programs for reduced and free medications. People need to be informed and actually apply. Yeah, I don't know about those. I do need a glasses cleaner sponsorship. If we could find one that worked, that would be great. All right. How you doing over there on locals? You guys, you doing okay? Hey, Regen. Hey, Regen, you got your pen, didn't you? Did you get your Bastion bolt action pen? I want to know what color you got. I want to know how you like it because I know Regen ordered one. If you guys want to order one of these awesome pens, I've been making all my grocery lists. I've been making all my meal planning, note taking with this thing, and I love it. It's so cool. The Bastion bolt action pen. You use my promo code MEG20, you can get a 20% off discount on that. It really is a cool thing. I've been using it every day, and I really like this pen. It's my favorite. And if any of my kids touch it, I'm going to get mad. So go to bastionboltactionpen.com, promo code MEG20. You can pick one of those up. If you're a writer like me, writers write, and we do it by hand too. I still write by hand. I still write longhand sometimes. Not my articles. I type those. Let's see. All right, and I know Meredith wants me to check the merch store because she says that there's a surprise in there for me, and now I can't keep my. I'm really, really, really. I got to see it, so I got to go look at it right now, and then we'll come back to this Mexico story, and then we're going to get into the Idaho 4 updates because there's quite a few of them. But I got to check the merch store because Meredith has been promising me something hilarious, and if it's true, if it's there, wait, I'm looking. Here, I'll share this tab so you guys can look with me. What did you add? Is it live or do I have to make it live? Oh, the Make Americans Friends Again stuff is so great. You did it. Oh my gosh, you guys. It's here. Meredith, this looks so awesome. Look, it's sorry for having great tits and correct opinions on everything. Oh my gosh, it's here. It's here. You guys can go to the merch store and you can buy my new mug that says sorry for having great tits and correct opinions on everything with this amazing artwork that Meredith made of the fox. Check that out. That is so awesome. I got to make it bigger. Hold on. Let's see if I can zoom in. Oh my gosh. I got to get one of these immediately. I have to have one. I have to have one. I got to drop this in the here. I'm going to drop the link, you guys. I'm going to put it in the locals chat. Gets it first because you guys pay me for it. There you go. Locals chat is the favorite chat. Sorry, guys. Actually, no, that's not true. I love you all. Here you go. Rumble chat. There's the link. I know. I know. I'm sure it is sort of like a furry version of me, but still, it's great. And poor Meredith, her Google results, when she had to search for this for artwork to kind of like give her inspiration, she was like, "My Google results are ruined forever with furries." All right, there's the link, clickety click, if you guys want to buy one. And it looks like she put it on other stuff too. It's not just a mug. Let's see. What else did I see? I saw a sweatshirt and a t-shirt. It's on a t-shirt too. It's hilarious. All right, enough. And did you see that? Seriously, the Make Americans Friends Again. I love the new red, white, and blue design. I love it, and it's red, white, and blue camo, and I love it. This Meredith, you're so cool. So there's tons of stuff, new stuff for you guys to look at in the merch store. So make sure you get over there and check that out and support the show. All right, hold on. Oh, Red Jen got a red pen. I love it. Do you love your pen? Is it great? I want to know how you like it because I really like mine. All right, let me stop sharing this and get back to the Mexico thing. I hate it when I wake up to breaking news like this. I hate it. Let's go back to PJ Media and finish off this video.
It's theorized they could have been mistakenly targeted.
And we will continue to coordinate with Mexico and push them to bring those responsible to justice.
Madam Morris is under a level 4 do not travel advisory by the State Department, the same threat level issued for Iraq, Iran, and Afghanistan.
Do not travel.
Okay, Madam Morris, by the way, is right over the border. That's where this happened. It is right over the border. I mean, what's it going to take for America to be like, you know what, Mexico, if you can't control your border, we will do it for you. Enter the border and clean up this crap. It's the cartel. Yeah, we know who they are. They're the cartel. I mean, what? I don't understand. After all that bullshit with the war on drugs that was so completely useless, why the hell wasn't that a war on the cartel? Of all the things to get ourselves involved in, like, let's be completely honest now. Let's be completely honest. Of all the international skirmishes to get ourselves involved in, Ukraine and Iraq and Afghanistan, we've got a problem right on our own border that is killing Americans. Do you know the cartel is like kidnapping Americans and cutting their heads off? And they're bringing, millions of people over the border illegally, and they're raping all the kids. And this is just disgusting. Why the hell why haven't we started a skirmish in Mexico? Why haven't we cleaned up the border? If of all the international crap that we get involved in, Mexico is the only one that I can say with authority is the one that affects us the most. It's literally our neighbor. It's right next door. And if Mexico isn't going to clean up their problem, why should we just sit around and wait? I say invade Mexico and turn it into a giant a giant resort. Let's make Mexico America's resort. Make Mexico America's vacation spot. I'm tired of this. And then we can make Mexico great again so Mexicans don't have to leave Mexico and come here. Let's just invade Mexico. We could probably take Mexico in a couple of days. Why the hell don't we do that? I'm just watching your chat. Hold on. What do you think of my invade Mexico? Hashtag invade Mexico. Red Jen says the pen is so smooth. It is, isn't it? Yep. How come we ignore Mexico, but like we're screwing around? Like, what were we doing in Syria? Remember there was some baloney in Syria we were getting involved in, and we're like flying drones and blowing people up all over the place. Like, how about we just fix Mexico? Why don't we spend all that money and invade Mexico and rehab the whole place and make it one giant, beautiful, resort? they've got good weather and they have great food. So, All right, how do I get back over to where I was? Give part of it to Palestinians. Oh my gosh, solved. We have solved the Middle East crisis and the cartel problem in like the last 5 minutes. Do you see how easy this is? This is easy. I know Americans are already moving to Mexico. They're moving, and there's a huge expat community there. God, this makes me mad. All right, so now there's a do not travel warning.
We encourage Americans to heed that advice.
Matamoros is a city of roughly 500,000 people and has been home to the warring factions of the Gulf drug cartel for decades.
So they know this. They know where the cartel is. It's in Matamoros. They know this. It's been that way for decades. And who's doing what? What now? Nothing? We can't declare the cartel terrorists and just treat them as such and start droning the shit out of them. I mean, look. We've been droning God knows who in the Middle East that is so far away from us, it has nothing to do with anything. But you can't drone the cartel? I mean, yeah, put the chat in the White House. We'll get it sorted out. I do feel like a lot of this stuff is not as hard as it seems. There are simpler solutions. One of them is to give Mexico, I'll tell you, like, here's what I would do. I'd be like, okay, so we've been dealing with this problem with the cartel for decades, and it doesn't seem like Mexico can get a handle on it. So here's what's going to happen. We're giving you 6 months to get the cartel arrested or murdered, killed. We don't care. We don't care. Shut down the cartel in the next 6 months. And if that doesn't happen, we will come and help you, whether you want us to or not. And we will roll tanks across the border. What is this? Why do we allow this? Why does Mexico allow it? As far as I know, everybody in Mexico, everyone says that the cartel just pays off the Mexican police and the Mexican government. And, they're getting kickbacks from the cartel. Well, why can't we make them a better deal? This was the kind of thing that I thought Donald Trump was really good for. Because he would be the guy who would be like, well, we can make it much more profitable for you to deal with us instead of the cartel. How about we invest in Mexico so that you will for sure get way more money than you're getting from the cartel through tourism, through all this other stuff, through a good relationship with America, and we fix your problem. We get rid of the cartel and then everybody thrives. Get rid of them. But no, we just have to keep on losing Americans to kidnapping, and God knows what they're doing to Mexicans. I mean, that's the other thing. How terrorized are the Mexican people by the cartel? I'm sick of it. I'm sick of everything today. You're going to get unhinged me today because I'm sick of a lot of shit.
And we have a problem across the border that we haven't addressed, and it's violence.
Congressman Vicente Gonzalez of Texas says this isn't the first time this has happened and says the U.S. has to take strong action.
We need a much...
Whoa. Lars Larson, you just said we don't have that kind of money? Excuse me? We just sent $200 billion more to Ukraine. Oh, believe me, we have all the money we want when we want to print it and do stuff. They have all the money they want. You know why they're not sending it to Mexico instead of Ukraine? Because Mexico wouldn't be laundering it for them. That's why they're sending it to Ukraine. Do you know where that money in Ukraine goes? I've got news for you. It goes right back to Hunter Biden and the crime Biden family. That's why they send it to Ukraine. That's why nobody's sending it to Mexico, because they would need it for infrastructure and the actual things that they need help with. Come on. I'd rather invest in Mexico to keep our people in Texas safer and our people in Arizona safer. Yeah, shh, don't tell YouTube I said that. Welcome to the ASMR portion of this video. The cartels are terrorists. Good Lord. Steve. Hey, Steve. You disagree with me somewhat on Ukraine? Where do you think the money's going, Steve? Where's the money going? You really think they're buying weapons with it? Or what do you think they're doing with it? I have it on good authority that Hunter Biden is getting quite a kickback on all the money that comes from America that funnels through Ukraine. C. Suter says, unhinged Megan is the best. Well, I'm angry today. Did I miss any Rumble rants? I forgot to turn on my plugin. It's turned on now. Now I won't miss it. Okay. I'm angry today. I woke up to the news that 2 Americans were killed by the cartel in Mexico unnecessarily because we continue to just allow them to operate 12 miles outside of our border completely free. Like they're just running shit down there, I guess. We should step in. So Robin on Locals is saying Mexico has always been corrupt, but when they go too far, we step in. I have a friend in Harlingen, Texas, right on the border, and the cartels don't come here. We need to get so much tougher on that border. I don't understand why there aren't gun towers. I don't understand why we don't start just shooting, because it's cartel. It's cartel ferrying those people across the border. You know, you start shooting and they will stop doing it. I've had enough of these people. I'm angry. Unhinged ASMR. We need to invade Mexico and destroy the cartel instead of sending $200 billion to the Ukraine. It doesn't have the same effect if I'm not screaming it. All right, I got to go back to playing this. We have a lot to get to today, and I have to leave early because I have to take a kid to the dentist. So I got to get cracking and move along.
More aggressive approach. We need to be targeting cartels as if
with
they
drones. Yeah, yes.
U.S. is
as if they were terrorists.
$50,000 reward.
Put that
not just
man
for
in
the safe
charge.
return of the Americans, but also
Who was
for
that?
the arrest of the suspects. In the newsroom, Dick Brennan, CBS 2 News.
Who was that guy? That was a representative. What was his name? Hold on. He was making sense.
U.S. is offering a Congressman Vicente Gonzalez of Texas says.
Aha. Vicente Gonzalez. Remember that name. We should put him in charge. We should put him in charge. Treat them like terrorists. Send your little drone pilots that sit nice and comfy in California or wherever they are and bomb the shit out of the cartel. I feel like I sound like my dad. My kids have been at the dentist a lot. That's true. I have one they're looking at for orthodontia. One has 2 cavities that she needs to get filled. And so that's happening today. The other one is fine. She got her cleaning. We had to get our cleanings all caught up. Because there's a whole story behind that, but I'm not going to get into it now. But COVID screwed everybody up with dental appointments because they weren't taking appointments, and so everyone got backed up, and then took forever to get in. Then they had the nerve to yell at me when I went and ask me why it had been so long since I had been there, and I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me? Do you not remember COVID when you were closed for 2 years? I mean, come on." Rants for rants. And I didn't even think I was going to do this show today, but I'm sitting on the couch this morning after the kids got on the bus, and I'm going through Twitter, and I'm just like, oh, there's something. Oh, there's something. Oh, there's something. Like there's just so much going on today. All right, let's move on from this Mexico story because it's really upsetting. Don't forget, I'm going to drop the link in the chat, even though we've gone over it. I would love it if you would click on it for me, because that's how PJ Media knows that people like me. You keep on clicking for me. Steven, if you want to get in here, if you're bored, I will send you an invite right now, because everybody loves a little Gosney in their life, and I've got some crime stuff to go over. So if you're feeling it, I'll send it to you on. I'll send you an email, and if you can hop on, and if you can't, that's okay too. I've been very bad about planning guests recently. Oh, you already sent me an email. Here, I'm replying. Here we go. Here's the link. Okay. All right. Alrighty, Rue. Do. All right, I got to move on to the next thing. So don't forget to clickety-click on pjmedia.com. I'm going to put the link in the chat for you guys because it helps me when you guys click. And I appreciate that you do that. And share it on social media too. If you would share it on your social media page, on Twitter, on Facebook, wherever, on Locals, share it. Because PJ Media deserves the eyeballs versus MSNBC and like people at CNN who lie to you all day. Like, that's not cool. Yeah. Rumble chat upon the horizon has pointed out guns are illegal in Mexico. Hence, only outlaws have guns. You would think that people who hate the Second Amendment here would learn. You would think they would learn, but they don't. All right. What am I going to share next? Hold on. We got to get to Brian Kohberger. No. Before we do that, there's more breaking news. This has to be shown immediately. We're moving to the January 6th massive lie. Last night, Tucker Carlson was on the air dropping J6 footage we've never seen before.
Dangerous conspiracy theorist dressed in outlandish costume who led the violent insurrection to overthrow American democracy. For these crimes, Chansley was sentenced to nearly 4 years in prison, far more time than many violent criminals now receive. What did Jacob Chansley do to receive this punishment? To this day, there is dispute over how Chansley got into the Capitol building. But according to our review of the internal surveillance video, it is very clear what happened once he got inside. Virtually every moment of his time inside the Capitol was caught on tape. The tapes show that Capitol Police never stopped Jacob Chansley. They helped him. They acted as his tour guides. Here's video of Chansley in the Senate chamber. Capitol Police officers took him to multiple entrances and even tried to open locked doors for him.
Oh my God.
We counted at least 9 officers who were within touching distance of unarmed Jacob Chansley. Not one of them even tried to slow him down. Chansley understood that Capitol Police were his allies. Video shows him giving thanks for them in a prayer on the floor of the Senate. Watch.
Thank you, Heavenly Father, for giving the inspiration needed to these police officers to allow us in this building.
Contrast the reality of
Holy
what Jacob
crap.
Chansley did in the Capitol building on January 6th. The industry.
Worst insurrection ever. Hi, Steve Gosney. Thanks
Hello.
for being here.
Yes, well, you're getting to my stuff now. J6 and the Idaho Moscow maggot.
Yes, we're going to get to that. Yes. Can you believe this new footage? So we
Yes,
were
I
told.
can believe it. This is exactly what all of us conspiracy nuts knew was actually happening, which was this is a federal setup that they brought these people into a fly trap.
Well, Steve, look, let me say this. I knew it was a setup, but I had no idea that they were literally escorting him through these people through the building. They're on tape trying to open the doors to the Senate chamber. And now we have the worst insurrection ever, as the chat says, of them praying for the police that let them into the building. Oh my God. What?
Yep. Political persecution at its finest. It's Banana Republic stuff. It was a complete setup. Ray Epps is a Fed. They orchestrated the.
Wait, you can't say that.
Yeah, well, I'm saying it.
You can't say it because Ray Epps told the New Yorker or New York Times or whatever that he's being harassed on a daily basis because people say he's a Fed, and it's not true. He lives in a trailer in the middle of nowhere now, he says.
Yeah, I don't believe that. And so the thing is that he wasn't alone. He was part of a whole team. They had undercovers. They had undercover people that were orchestrating the whole thing. The feds actively took down the barricading to funnel the people to the front of the Capitol. They had feds instigating the people to go in, and they opened the doors. If you saw the uniformed officers, the doors were locked and closed and are very secure. But there were people that came in that were feds. They came in and opened the doors, welcomed them in. If you see the people, they're just walking in like little grandmothers, walking in with their American flags in the little ropes, looking like, look, there's the painting and there's this.
On one side of the Capitol, that's true. That's how that happened. It was like how would they know they weren't allowed in? They were literally ushered in by the police and they were walking between the ropes. But on the other side of the Capitol, there was a riot and it was very bloody and it was deadly because.
But there were also, did you see the thing? The people, the cops were shooting chemicals into the crowd and
yes,
instigating
I saw that.
the crowd. And they're like, guys like, shoot him. I mean, this to me was a Democrat orchestrated thing. They could have, they never would have gotten in the Capitol. They if it wasn't for the orchestration of the feds, this whole thing is a big media narrative lie. And I mean, I'm sure there's bad actors, there's some bad people in there and all that. But this guy who was escorted in and was shown around, it got 4 years in prison.
You know,
why is that? It's because the federal government, the deep state, wants to punish the good people of America and teach them don't you ever dare challenge our federal power again. That's what the message is.
I personally think I'm starting to wonder if this guy, this Buffalo Horns guy, I'm starting to wonder if he's even real and if he's even in jail.
Oh, I think he's real. I think he's in jail. He's a prankster. You know, he's just a prankster guy. He's not.
Well, I'm starting to think he's an actor because this is so outrageous, Steve.
He is an actor, but he did get 4 years.
How do we know he got 4 years? How do we know they didn't just give some fed a fake name, do a fake trial, and he's not in jail? He's just not there. He's on his next assignment.
Yeah. Well, at this point, I'm skeptical about everything, but there's definitely innocent Americans that have been saddled with felonies and crimes for the sin of actually standing up against the government and saying the government is wrong. They were sucked into this like a Venus flytrap by federal actors. Now, who had the authority to do this? Were they acting under Donald Trump? I would say not. Now, this is federal law enforcement. Were they acting under Nancy Pelosi and Capitol? Whatever federal agency was involved in this, those people not only need to be fired, they need to be prosecuted.
They need to be put in jail.
They need to be put in jail, but it ain't happening. So if that doesn't tell you where your federal government is, we need to defund the feds. We need to de-empower them as much as humanly possible because we have show trials now. Now we have a DC jury full of people that hate Donald Trump, that we can bring these people in front of. We can get DC judges like that idiot who is the persecutor in chief judge. And so the whole system is rigged to crush you if you go in. How dare you come to DC and protest like Martin Luther King and the rest of the people who got up there and fought for civil rights, right?
You know,
could that happen today?
I knew
no, because we'll shove you in front of a jury. It only favors the politically powerful.
I knew it was a trap. People wanted me to go to January 6th, and I was like, hell no, I won't be anywhere near that. I won't go anywhere near that. I know exactly what's going down there, and it's going to be a trap. I said that to so many people. I even said it on my podcast. I was like, I wouldn't go if I were you.
Remember the trucker protest? And the truckers said, we're not going anywhere near there. Mm-hmm. We're going to stay outside because they were trying to lure him in. Come into the DC jury.
Yep. Lightgiver, let me explain. Lightgiver says he's real. He was in the military. Look up his bio. I know he's a real person. What I'm saying is our federal government has lied to us so many times, and they have set people up with feds so many times, including the alleged kidnapping of Governor Whitmer and all kinds of different things and J6. How do we know that guy, Buffalo Horns, QAnon shaman, isn't just another fed? It sure looks like it with them escorting him around for photo shoots so they could use his picture to be the image of the insurrection that never happened. I'm just saying our federal government has lied so badly about so much that I don't know what to believe anymore. I don't know what's true. I can't tell.
I really don't think. I think he's a jokester and a stunt artist. I think he's a real person that got very wronged. He was used. They're going to find the face. But Ray Epps, he was on the top 20 most wanted list. and all of a sudden, boom, he disappears.
Yeah, let's look at the video footage of Ray Epps now, because it looks like Tucker was able to prove that Ray Epps lied.
Oh, absolutely, he did.
So here we go.
That guy is such a fed, it's not even funny.
Here we go. Let's look at this footage that he says Ray Epps lied.
If there's one takeaway from the corpus of footage that we spent 3 weeks looking at, it's that the January 6th committee lied. Its members are liars. And as the result of those lies, core civil liberties in this country were eroded. People went to prison. They're in prison as of right now, unjustly. So those lies had consequences. So you have to ask yourself, whatever happened to the members of the January 6th committee? These liars who hurt people and the country. Well, let's see. Adam Schiff is running for Senate. Adam Kinzinger got a job at CNN. Liz Cheney somehow wound up a professor at the University of Virginia, the august University of Virginia. They're all still there. Benny Thompson.
And they'll never be prosecuted.
Listen to his wisdom, but they're liars. And above all, this video proves it. Here's another installment. One of the enduring mysteries of January 6th is the role that intelligence and law enforcement agencies played in the events of that day. We know there was some number of undercover federal agents in the crowd at the Capitol. Officials have since admitted that under oath. But what exactly were they doing there? The January 6th committee worked hard to hide the answer to that question. We do know from...
Do you guys remember during that testimony, when they got to question these people, question the FBI, they were like, how many agents did you have at the January 6th event? And they refused to answer the question.
Didn't Ted Cruz get out of somebody that was over 30?
Yeah, I don't remember that, but I remember that they kept refusing to answer the question. And the question was so simple. It was just like, did any of your
who do these people work for? You know, this is our Congress. This is our elected representatives. They are in front of Congress, and congressmen, our elected representatives, are asking them questions under oath. These are state employees. These are federal employees. What right do they have to refuse to answer that question?
Right. They don't have a right. I don't think they do. And I don't know why our Congress people and our senators sit there and allow it to happen. When they
because what are you going to do about
it? Can't they hold them in contempt or something? I know they're not judges, but I'm just trying to think, Steve.
This is why we need fight in our politicians. And I mean, and as faulty as Trump is on a lot of ways, the one thing is he fights. And we need more politicians who are willing to take these things on and to not just get along to go along because we're all good old boys and we're in the elites and, you know, this is for the laws for the little people. We need people who are up there standing up for us and who are willing to ask the hard questions and push it when they don't get them and defund these agencies when they are rogue. And right now we have some major rogue agencies in the federal government.
Not to mention, Steve, when the FBI wants to raid Donald Trump's house, somehow Democrats find a way to do it. So if the
government has been weaponized against the people.
So why on earth can't a sitting senator, get the FBI to answer a damn question? Put her under arrest if you have to. Call the Capitol Police and put her under arrest and say, fine, if you're not going to answer my question, well, then you're going to sit in a detainment center until you do. This is absurd. Or they could subpoena her all of the records, couldn't they? They are Congress. They are the Senate. Don't they have oversight of the FBI, or am I missing something?
Well, theoretically, yes, and they have the power of the purse. I would punish these people I'd zero them out. I mean, you know, and the people are like, well, I mean, I just zero whole departments out, zero the entire brass out. You know, the power of
put a freeze on all of their entire budget.
Maybe I'd be more than free. I'm talking zero. You know what I'm talking about? Like no more agency until you come forward with these things. You don't have an agency. You are disbanded. I mean, I would get so salt to the earth nuclear on these rogue agencies if I was in charge. You know, maybe that's why I'm not popular, not in charge. But that's
why none of us are in charge, Steve.
But it's absurd.
Because like I said before, the solution to the Mexican border issue is not hard. Invade freaking Mexico and control the border.
Well, the wall was actually quite effective.
It was, of course it was.
It needs to be completed. But they did everything. This whole unchecked bureaucracy in Washington that is governing, because I mean Biden's not governing, It's these federal people that have these federal jobs who are ensconced in DC that are thinking they rule us. This is America. This is a free country. We are free citizens. They don't rule us. They work for us. And when they start weaponizing, when they start putting citizens in prison based on setups like this, they need to be shut down. We need to have a people's response.
This is political oppression.
Yes.
And I have always been, I'm against the death penalty, Steve. I have one exception. That exception is government agents that violate the rights of, and I'm serious, that violate civil rights. I think anyone who works for the government who gets caught violating civil rights should face the electric chair, or possibly a firing squad. I think I'm leaning more towards firing squad.
I don't know that. Let's keep that out of this. For
light giver. Well, I actually that will relate to a story I have for later, because the firing squad may be making a comeback in Idaho just in time for Brian Kohberger, by the way. So stay tuned for that. Light giver, thanks for the super chat, says the actor Nick Searcy was there that day and made an excellent video exposing things. It's called Capital Punishment. Even shows Antifa changing into MAGA clothing. I have not seen that, but
well, the left is the master of the false flag. You know, they love doing the false flag and finding, the one crazy right-wing lunatic KKK member or not neo-Nazi that they can focus on and say, this is the whole. Hey, man, it should be Fox Gosney, though.
Whatever. I would never run for anything. But if people would just put me in charge, I could fix things.
No, I don't know. Well, the problem with all government is, it's dispersed power, which is actually a benefit, because one senator is not the Senate. No one man holds absolute power over everything. But because of that, we really empower bureaucrats. So it's only the cap. See, that's why I really think, who was it that Getz? I'm not a big fan of Getz, but he did extract some great promises from our current speaker during that whole speaker battle. And one of them was that we would get some hearings into some things, and that he extracted some very good concessions, basically fighting concessions, out of our current speakership, so that we can use the body of the Congress, the body of the House of Representatives, in a way that we need to have. But I don't know why anybody can support this kind of tyranny.
Jen has a question for you in the locals chat, Steve. She wants to know, is it possible for Buffalo Horns guy to get a new trial? My guess would be, I'm sure he has an appeal and he could.
Well, I think, did he plea? I think he pled, right?
Oh, he might have. Does that mean he can't appeal?
That cuts off a lot. However, he could move to withdraw his plea based on withholding of Brady information, assuming that he does not have this information prior to his plea. So I'm kind of surprised, but I
guarantee you he didn't have the information. You know why I know that? I've been in touch with Jacob Lang, who is in a federal prison right now. He's been moved 11 times because he's under indictment for this January 6th stuff, and his trial still hasn't got here in 2 years. And he has told me consistently from when he was put in until now that they are not releasing all the footage to him for his defense. That's what's holding up the trial, is that he still hasn't received all the footage that they asked for in his defense. I guarantee you that
well, and I hate to say this, but I'm suspect of the public defender's office in DC, because I guarantee you they're not fooled with MAGA hat Republicans. And how so if you have the
he has a private attorney, but even the private attorney can't get the discovery from
and see, no matter how good your defense attorney is, if the prosecutor and the judge are solidly against you, there's very little you can do.
Yeah.
And it's really, this is so painful for me, because as somebody who does criminal law, to see criminal law weaponized in a political way like this is so third world.
It is third world. It's like Americans going to Mexico for medicine. What timeline did I wake up in? We've got political prisoners. We've got people going to Mexico to get cheap meds. And I just don't understand who we are anymore. This next part is going to tell you how they proved that Ray Epps lied.
Contemporaneous videotape that a mysterious figure called Ray Epps encouraged the crowd to go into the Capitol. For some reason, Epps has never been indicted for that. But there's no question he did it.
We need to go into the Capitol.
Under public pressure, the January 6th committee finally interviewed Ray Epps. Epps told the committee that he never entered the Capitol and therefore never committed a crime. His text messages showed that at 2:12 p.m., he boasted to his nephew that he had, quote, orchestrated the protests at the Capitol. He admitted he helped get people there. Yet, curiously, congressional Democrats consider Ray Epps an ally, not an insurrectionist. Tonight, we can tell you that at the very least, Ray Epps lied in his sworn testimony to the January 6th committee. Epps testified that when he sent the text messages to his nephew, he had already left the Capitol grounds to return to his hotel room. That is not true. The surveillance footage we found shows that, in fact, Ray Epps remained at the Capitol for at least another half an hour. You're seeing that on your screen now. What was Epps doing there? We can't say, but we do know that he lied to investigators. The January 6th committee likely knew this too. Democrats had access to the same tape, yet they defended Ray Epps. No honest investigation would do that. But the point of the January 6th committee was never to investigate anything. The point was to stage a made-for-TV show trial.
Yep.
From the opening moments, the tone of the hearings was almost comically overheated and polemical. There is not a tragedy in
Cry harder, Kinzinger.
American history that Democrats didn't liken to the protests of January 6th.
I'm from a part of the country where people justify the actions of slavery, the Ku Klux Klan, and lynching.
How staged and fraudulent was the work of the January 6th committee? Democrats hired a Good Morning America producer called James Goldston to dramatize the footage they released.
Yeah, that's when I stopped watching it, by the way. When they played the dramatized footage, Steve, I was like, I can't do this anymore. I was streaming it. I'm like, I'm turning this off. They put music behind it. They literally
who remains watching these news reports? This whole left-wing media echo chamber that the committee orchestrates things, that the media picks and chooses. I mean, and I'm not a big Fox News guy, but Tucker Carlson is right on the money here. Of course, we knew this a long, long time ago. I've seen that footage way before because of independent journalists like PJ Media that as one of the few sources, like, where do you get your information? These people are so incredible, have lost so much of their. I don't listen to anything they say. So who do I listen to? I listen to Instapundit, Powerline Blog, PJ Media, Legal Insurrection. You know, some sources that I know who they are, that do their best, that they can do their best reporting, like you, who've always, you know, I always shine you about being a good reporter. But why aren't there more? And this thing is they have lied to us so much. And Tucker Carlson, I don't like the format because it's very kind of surface, but this type thing, he's showing what it's about.
Yeah, Robin, I don't understand this comment. She says, I'm amazed you guys are still believing anything Trust Fund Tucker said after his text about his election lies are now public. For one, I don't know about the text. I thought the texts were more about political going back and forth about how he feels about Trump, which a lot of people wouldn't say publicly because they don't want to stir up trouble in their own party, for one. So I didn't think that was any big deal if he's telling people privately that he's not a huge fan of Trump. But so maybe I'm missing a different text. But what does it matter who is bringing the message? This is video footage that can't be denied. This is not a
lot of stuff. Well, and I told you I disagreed with you about the Ukrainian stuff. I mean, I don't need to agree with you 100%. First of all, I know who you are, and I know what you're about, and I know you seek the truth, and you're always looking. You have an open mind, and you're reporting the truth and what you feel the best you can. That's what I look for, right? Like Tucker, I'm not 100% agree with him, but I think he's honest as much as he can. I think he has his perspective and he's putting it out there. So he's not, but like, do I trust anything CNN says at all? That's a corporate agenda driven script reading bunch. And I don't even know who they are. Like, who is CNN?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't believe anything. So why even waste them?
We've got a couple Rumble rants for you, Steve.
Oh yeah, let's go Rumblers. Go Rumblers.
Raceland 9000 says, howdy, Steve, and based Gosney. And Raceland also said the other side was instigated by the police. They killed 4 Trump supporters to incite a riot. There is an argument to be made that police did some of that, like were harming people, and others were saying, stop. They were
shooting tear gas.
Yeah. Although I'll give in the police's defense, I have seen a lot of the footage from that side. and there were people climbing the building. There were people climbing the scaffolding. It was a very scary situation if you were one of those police officers. I can imagine that they thought, we're going to have to deploy crowd control on this crowd or we're in trouble.
But there was two sides. See, there was the Fed instigators. I think there were a lot of cops there who had no clue what was going on. They're just responding. They were remember, Nancy Pelosi did not allow the National Guard to be called out, right? So there was a group of feds. Who they are, I still don't know. Was it FBI? Was it CIA? Was it Capitol Police? Who are these people? But there was a large group of feds that were instigating the crowd, directing the crowd, organizing the crowd, opening doors, pulling down fences, doing all of those things like Ray Epps and directing them into the Capitol. And then you had just average Trump people who are just going along just because they're there. And then you've got the Capitol Police who I think were just there, that were just not involved. They don't know what's going on. They're just doing their job. And they're like people climbing, like you say, and they're being instigated. There's this one guy running around saying, shoot him, shoot him. You know, the guy that shot the Ashley Babbitt.
Yeah.
The only person that died on there was Ashley Babbitt. And she was murdered. And why wasn't this
and
guy
Roseanne, what was her last name? Roseanne. There's another woman who died. She was suffocated by the police. She had fallen to the bottom of a pile as they were pushing people out of the Capitol, and there were protesters screaming, "She's under there! There's someone under there! Stop! Stop! Stop!" They were trying to pull her out, and she was suffocated to death. And another man almost suffocated to death. Jacob Blake pulled him out from underneath the pile of bodies and saved his life. But yeah, and also the police officer or whoever he was, because I don't know, they haven't even identified him, who killed Ashley Babbitt.
Yeah, they did. He was Capitol Police.
Oh, he was Capitol Police. Okay.
Yes, and he was identified and he was given an award. You know,
yeah.
It's sick. I mean,
Roseanne Boylan, thank you.
You look at that from the laws of self-defense, and I work with Bronco a lot on this. That was an unjustified shooting. She was shot through the door. She was shot in the head through the door. There was no reason for that shooting. That was ridiculous.
Well, wait a minute. What about she was climbing through the window of the door, though?
Yeah, if you look at that, there was no immediate danger to that police officer. That was an unjustified shooting. He was not being threatened with deadly force. That guy was operating independently, and he has had use of force incidents in the past. But there's been no investigation at all, because it's all part of the Brotherhood of Feds. You know, if that was a cop, let's look at a racial situation of a beat cop in some small town neighborhood in the South. Do you think he'd get the races were reversed? Do you think he'd get that kind of treatment? No. He'd be every news media would be reporting it on their front pages. You know, that she was just, breaking a door and she was murdered in the shot in the head.
Look, I know that you guys are like, she was unarmed. Look, the other side of the equation, though, is this. What the vice president was in the building. I don't know where. I don't know what orders they were given to, if protesters breach this particular spot, this is the no-go zone. We don't know. And if a mob is coming at you and you're the only officer there,
he's not the only officer there. There were other officers there.
Well, then they came right up the back behind her. There was an entire, that's the thing that got me.
Right behind him.
That's the thing.
And one of the guys that was instigating this film was an Antifa guy.
Yeah.
Was with the cops, and then he just kind of.
I still though am not in favor of breaking windows and climbing in through doors where you're not welcome. I'm not in favor of riotous behavior. I'm not in favor of it. I think it was a fuck around and find out moment for Ashley, unfortunately, and there were people pushing her through there too. Like, why were they putting her at the front? You guys, if you think it's a good idea to get into a standoff with armed cops like that, well, be my guest. I'm saying,
but also,
I'm not.
Wait a second. Now, hold on a second, because we're also talking about the context of this. Those were mostly peaceful protests. We've had 2 years of Antifa burning our cities to the ground all across America. And then we go to the Capitol, and there's some people that want to, cut the rope, the little velvet rope, and jump the rope and say, look at me, wave their flag around. And those are the terrible rioters of the earth. And those are the evil people. That's causing all the problems in the world. Really? After $2 billion in damage, I think, in one city, Antifa is burning. And so the context of this is wait a second, I thought rioting was great. I thought it was patriotic. And now they get sucked into this maw.
Right.
And it's like, oh, we got to crush it. They investigate 1,000 people they arrest. Where's the Antifa arrests in Portland?
Oh, absolutely, Steve. I'm with you on that. Like Giver, thanks for the super chat, says Megan, the cops were at the bottom of the steps, not stopping Antifa from breaking the windows. I know. There was a whole lot
there were a lot of people in the
lot
crowd
of bad
saying,
stuff
stop
happening.
that. They were telling the cops, go get these people over here.
Yeah.
Look there. And the cops weren't responding. So this is all.
There isn't any part of me that thinks any of this should have happened. I'm just saying that in that particular instance, in that shooting, I can definitely agree, Steve, that you've got a point there, but I didn't think she made a wise move. I'm not. I mean, obviously, I would never break a Capitol window. That was a mistake. But, there's priceless paintings and tapestries all through that Capitol. Yeah.
They weren't faced.
No.
You look at the people were walking through. They're going down the velvet ropes. They're walking in the thing. They're being guided in.
The guy who sat in Nancy Pelosi's office got like 3 years in jail because he sat in her chair and put his feet up on the desk. That's literally where we are right now.
Yeah, because we are the ruled. We are the ruled. We are no longer have we the people.
It's not our house.
It's not our house anymore. It's these leaders. It's Nancy Pelosi's house. And who are we to challenge them? Really ridiculous.
What's funny is that at the day it was happening, as it was happening live, and I was seeing this footage happen, we were all sitting around the newsroom in PJ Media where, we were talking back and forth.
Ooh, the inside, the inner sanctum.
But I won't speak for anybody else. I will just say that I was laughing my ass off because the footage I was seeing was the one carrying the podium and the other one in Nancy's office with his feet up on the desk, taking selfies. And I was like, yeah, get them, chase them out of their offices. That's funny. It was funny. It was funny as hell. Like, I'm sorry, but
do you remember the Andrew Breitbart?
Nobody was getting hurt.
Have you ever seen Andrew Breitbart, the movie on him? I forget what it's called, but and it's like, and the Democrats are like marching, and they said they were being abused by racial epithets as they were by the Tea Party people, and they're marching proudly, and they've never been called. It reminds me of Selma, and it was like, and Breitbart said, "I'll give $100,000 to anybody that can produce." And there's all these cell phones, anybody can say.
No one came up with video.
Nobody. So this is exactly what it is. It's just another false flag Democrat operation, and it's got to stop.
It's got to stop.
I don't know. I mean, what is the answer to this?
All right. Well, here's another. This one might be the worst one yet. Remember Brian Sicknick? Remember who that was? That was the Capitol Police officer that the narrative was, we were told that he was murdered by the crowd because he got hit on the head with a fire extinguisher. Oh, well, we found out that didn't happen. We found out he died in a mysterious way after the fact. But now
he died the next day.
But now
we have natural causes.
But now we have proof, video evidence of Sicknick walking around after the alleged incident. Watch this. Uh-oh. I have no sound.
Not be reduced to a prop.
And several police officers in the meantime.
But Brian Sicknick should not be reduced to a prop for the political ambitions of the Democratic Party. He was a human being. The facts of his life matter, including how he died. To this day, media accounts describe Sicknick as someone who was, quote, slain on January 6th. The video we reviewed proves that is a lie. Here is surveillance footage of Sicknick walking in the Capitol after he was supposedly murdered by the mob outside. By all appearances, Sicknick is healthy and vigorous. He's wearing a helmet, so it's hard to imagine he was killed by a head injury. Whatever happened to Brian Sicknick was very obviously not the result of violence he suffered at the entrance to the Capitol. This tape overturns the single most powerful and politically useful lie the Democrats have told us about January 6th. And it was indeed a lie. The January 6th committee knew perfectly well that Brian Sicknick was walking normally through the Capitol.
And several police officers in the meantime.
But Brian Sicknick...
Yeah. So... mainstream media, they suck, and they made us believe. I know we've all known that Brian Sicknick,
I gotta say, I never believed it. And I'm a Breitbart fan, and what he did in that made me doubt all of these things.
Yeah.
And and when they started comparing it to like 9/11, 9/11, 3,000 Americans were killed. There were planes full of innocent people rammed. This is like the worst thing. Are you serious? Give me a freaking break. This was hardly even a riot. There were some bad actors in the crowd. I don't know who. I don't even know. We need an accounting. The feds were all over that thing. They were all infused in that. But it's because it's such a useful thing to show how bad these Republicans and what insurrections. It's a weapon. It's a weapon against the people of this country that the government has created. I'm sorry, ranting time. You got me going.
Well, this whole thing it's really awful. We have been reduced to a third world country because of these people. This is what banana republics do. Yes. They have lied so many times. Do you guys see this? Any of you who are on the other side, maybe politically, if you're Democrats, you can be a Democrat and still go, wow, there are some bad liars, because Adam Kinzinger is a Republican and I want him in jail for this. So if you're on the other side, you should still be able to look at this and go, this was not right.
But
and by the way,
we need to cut off this media, the information things. Like, all of these media outlets are so full of lies that we're drowning in it. I had a friend the other day, she was very, on the other side, and she was talking about Ron DeSantis. Now I'm about 80% Ron DeSantis. I like Ron DeSantis quite a lot. But she was telling me like that he's banning these books and he doesn't want slavery taught in the schools. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
That's so stupid.
Yeah, and I've looked at it like, now you can criticize him, you can be against him. Like, I'm against him on this aggressive death penalty kick that he's on. I'm very against that. But I'm like, but they're teaching slavery. Let me tell you, my son just got through school. He's a first freshman at Riddle now, and we just went through the whole curriculum. It's like every history class, half the class is civil rights era. He's not doing away with that. He's getting rid of this Antifa, Black Lives Matter infection that they're trying to inject into the curriculum through the thing. I'm like, they're not banning books. It's just a lie. But they hear it and they want to believe it. They want to believe that, oh, we disagree with DeSantis, therefore he must be absolutely evil and we're going to project all the worst. He's just a human politician, and he's got his pluses and minuses. But at least be honest about your criticism. Why do you have to create this idea that DeSantis doesn't want to teach slavery in Florida schools? That's garbage. That's so far from the truth. Like, have you seen the curriculum?
Yeah,
did you have a kid in school?
If you don't agree to teaching it the way the Marxists do through their critical race theory lens, then what they're saying is then you don't want to teach it. But no, that's not it.
But the average people are getting the message. They think that he wants to stop teaching slavery.
I know, it's crazy.
That's it's like, well, I read the headline and I believe the New York Times.
Nobody ever reads past the headline. That's the other problem. Okay. We've been here for an hour. You know what's next. I'm 12 minutes over. We need to do our squats. And when we come back, we are going to get into Brian Kohberger and all the lunatic women who are going cuckoo for Kohberger. And I just can't even believe it, Steve. I have so much fun stuff to talk about coming up. If you can't do the squats, do a wall sit, do a plank. I don't care. Just get up and move.
I'm gonna do this with you.
You should. And you should. And if for some reason I am not back when it ends, just take over the show. It's fine. I'll be back. I have to run downstairs and get myself a fill up on coffee because I have a lot of rage today, Steve, and I need to feed it caffeine. Okay, so do your squats right now.
You impose fatness on you. You did it by going, oh, I want the butter on the popcorn. Oh, I want the butter on the ice cream. Oh, I want the butter on the sandwich. Oh, I want the butter on the salad. Stop eating butter. Can you just get up, walk 1 mile?
To squat!
Walk farther. And if you can't walk, crawl, roll, get dragged by a goddamn forklift. Whatever is wrong with you, just move. Ever get off the chair, get off the couch. No one is coming to service you while you sink into that furniture, while you become one with the pleather your poor ass got on that Walmart couch. Can you try not floating into sadness? Stop eating, stop drinking, start walking, start doing anything anything that you haven't been doing, you fat piece of shit.
Okay, I guess she's not back yet. I did my my weights. See there? This is my office weights to keep the right. That's best I can do. Little weight training. So everybody get the rant. Am I on? Can we say hello? Who's in the chat? My chat folks. I'm sorry, I don't have my Rumble up. I should have Rumble up because I'm a Rumbler. Let me see. Hello, Lars. Okay, so we got trigger warning. I came on because I want to hear about the Idaho killer. This is one of those cases I'm actually interested in. So Idaho killer, and what's the other one? The woman down in Miami who killed her boyfriend by the throwing knife. That would be the, hi Mimi. Deborah, how are you? Burple Dragon, Blurple. Socratic method, hello. Simping ain't easy. Magoose. Hi. Isn't Megan Fox wonderful? Oops, there she is.
I'm back.
There she is.
Thanks for taking over. Oh man. All right. What did I miss? Looks like
next concert I'm going to go to is going to be Daytona Beach. It's the festival. We're going to see Tool and Pantera as the headliner.
Pantera. That's a blast from the past.
Yes, well, the guitar player and the drummer, the brothers, Daryl and they both are passed, but the singer and the bass player are still there. And then Charlie Benante from Anthrax is playing the drums, who's one of my favorite drummers, and Zakk Wylde on the guitar. Zakk Wylde's a good Catholic man. I don't know if you know that. No, Ozzy's guitar player.
I didn't know that, but I'm not really into hard rock. But
this isn't hard rock. This is heavy metal.
Or heavy metal. That's what I meant. I want to quickly address this before we move on from January 6th. Socratic Method says, I don't agree with the fuck around and find out take of J6 at all, but I respect Megan for at least looking at it fairly. This is a public service announcement. Let me explain why I felt that way before it even happened and why I'm warning you now. If you think that you will be treated the same as the left, you are wrong. You will never be treated the same as the left, as they're useful idiots and they're useful rioters. You cannot riot. They can, and you cannot. And if you try, you will find out. The boot will come down. They might even kill you like they did Ashley Babbitt, okay? If you are on the right, if you are a conservative, if you are not allowed to do the same things that the people on the left are allowed to do. That is just a reality. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's good. I'm just saying if you don't know that going in, that's why I told the people who told me they were going to January 6th to stay home. I said, don't go. My sisters went. I told them, don't go. Stay away because it's going to be a disaster. And I was right because you don't understand. We're not allowed to get angry. We're not allowed to show our anger. They will prosecute us. So
well, and I agree with you. However, that is a major problem in this country, and that is unequal protection. We should be fixed. Equal protection under the law is what we should be striving for.
Tell it to the guys sitting in solitary confinement right now in the federal prisons. What good does it do?
You're facing reality. You're looking at the way it is.
I'm looking at it the way it is, not the way it ought to be, but the way it is. And if you think that you're going to get away with what the left and Antifa gets away with, think again. You won't. You know what? You know what would happen if you went into a drugstore in California and started clearing the shelves off and just taking whatever you wanted? You would get thrown in jail. But a mob of youths can come in and do it. And they won't go to jail.
Well, actually, and it's interesting you point this out because the politics of the left is the politics of the mob. The group, the communists, and the communist ideal is mob action. And we really there's a book, and I need to read it. It's a very deep, in-depth, hard book, and it's called I think it's The Psychology of the Mob by Canetti. And it's one I need to read because there is a lot of we as conservatives I'm an individualist, but deep down, I'm a believer in individual freedom, maximizing individual freedom. That is where I kind of my root of my core being. The left tends to be group based and much more go along, consensus, and mob based, and they have a much better understanding of the mob than we do. And I don't know how to combat that. I need to read that book because I need to develop some strategies for us.
Well, you've got some rants in the Rumble chat. They're talking to you. Let's see. Josh Fabian says, for Steve, I live in Palm Coast, Florida, and I'm very glad to have a decent lawyer like you working for my county.
Yes,
nice.
Actually, I prosecuted in Palm Coast, that's Flagler County, for 6 years. That was my jurisdiction. I know the public defenders up there. There's Regina Nunnally and Bill Bookhammer, great office we have there. And that's also within my jurisdiction as an appellate lawyer. So yes, Palm Coast is, and actually a nice little, very low crime relative to the surrounding counties. You are blessed to be where you are.
And shout out to the mods like Daisy Nimbus, who is dropping your Rumble channel in the chat for everybody. So make sure you check out Steve Gosney at Crime Law, and thank you to the mods for always being on top of that. Raceland 9000 sent a Rumble rant, says, witness testimony says Babbitt was calling for backup after punching the guy who broke the window. She asked police outside for help and then asked through the window. I don't know. She had her feet on the windowsill.
I don't know. I don't know
about that.
I do think that the shooting was not justified.
I agree with you.
Yeah, Crowds and Power. That's it. It's Elias Canetti, Canetti. It's on my shelf of reading. Crowds and Power. I'm more of an individualist, but it is important to understand that. That's the definitive text on crowd mob mentality.
Gotcha. Raceland 9000 says they beat her to death with a baton. It's on video. I imagine you're talking about Roseanne Boylan. She did get hit first and then she was suffocated. Raceland 9000, Tucker called Powell a liar, then followed it up by calling her a liar on air, leftist lying with out of context facts. Okay, right. That was about Sidney Powell. That was the text you're talking about. Got it. And then Raceland sent another rant that says oh wait, no, I already got that one. Sorry, I got that one. All right, I'm all caught up in Rumble. Thank you very much for the Rumble rants for pants. I appreciate it. Let's move on to Brian Kohberger. This is insane. Steve,
this is our Idaho friend. Yes, well, we're
the Moscow maggot.
The Moscow maggot. What was it? I like the Idaho idiot.
The Idaho idiot. Either one.
Yeah.
Either one, really. Here's where we're going to go first. So there is news that is not absurd. We'll start there. We'll start with the updates. And it is that Brian Kohberger, they have now released information about what he was doing when the police raided his parents' house. And it's weird. Okay. New details about Brian Kohberger's behavior when police arrived. So get this. When the police came into the house, he was found awake in the kitchen area in shorts and a shirt and wearing medical latex gloves, apparently taking his personal trash and putting it in a separate Ziploc bag. This is what the prosecutor, who said this? Monroe County First Assistant Michael Mancuso. So he was separating out his trash at 3 a.m. From his parents' trash, which could explain why the only DNA they found in the garbage was his father's. Isn't that interesting, Steve?
Yeah, well, this guy, he has a lot of education. Wasn't he a PhD student in criminal justice?
Yes.
So he understands police evidence gathering techniques. See, and I mean, compare and contrast this guy with the Murdoch, right? I mean, this guy is very calculating, and it's fascinating. I mean, this is a fascinating case. I'm very interested to see how this one unfolds.
Now, there's another explanation for this trash behavior, though.
It's such a nice, fair person. Go ahead.
There's another explanation that I can think of, if I'm thinking like a defense attorney, is that he has a long history, right? We've seen his social media posts of all his disorders that he says he has. And he has extreme OCD where he can't even use certain pans for food. He has to use specific pans that meat has never been cooked in for his food. So if I'm his defense attorney, I'm going to say that's not weird behavior at all. He always separates his trash because for whatever it's his illness, it's his OCD. You know, and that's why he has gloves all over the place, because he won't touch anything. He has a phobia of bacteria or whatever. I mean, honestly, it's bizarre, but I could think of an explanation for it.
Maybe. The problem is
but then did he think they were out there looking through his trash? Did he know he was being followed?
I don't know.
Because why would he be doing it?
I don't know. Good question. Mysteries. What do you think? I mean, don't you think the police and the prosecutor in this case so far have been pretty good?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Isn't that like, thank God for small town America. I love Idaho. You know, I actually considered moving to Idaho. And in Moscow, actually, I applied to be a Fed, an AUSA in Moscow, Idaho. Back when I was leaving the prosecutor's office, ungratefully leaving, and I thought about becoming an AUSA, which is an assistant U.S. attorney for the federal government, Department of Justice. But I applied at Moscow, Idaho, because I thought I'd love to live in Idaho. And these people, you look at the conference, the old Santa Claus guy, and these guys are keeping their cards real close to the vest.
Oh, yeah. And look, I'm on record already saying that I think this will go down as one of the cases that will be studied in criminology for good police work and good prosecution. I guess I could be proven wrong, but I'm really excited to see what they have at the trial. I know that this trial is going to be explosive. I can't wait till June because there's so much information they have been holding on to that we don't have. And again, there's been another story that came out that said he had photos of one of the victims on his phone. They're claiming that it was Madison, but I'm here to tell you guys, don't believe everything you read, because again, this was not a confirmed source. This was just a source close to the investigation, which really could be anyone. And it was in People magazine. So I would encourage you not to believe that particular story.
Yeah. And I appreciate your skepticism on these stories, because I think that people just generating stories so that they have something to write. And that's why I follow you closely, because I know that you're checking your facts. I think you even checked me once, and I was like, "Oh, that's not been proven." Can I ask you, are they seeking the death penalty on it?
I thought they were, but then again, I think I just read something where he hasn't put his plea in yet. Is that possible?
Yes, it could be. He hasn't faced arraignment yet, is what you're saying. I don't know. I haven't followed the case since last we talked about it. But okay. When I actually, one of the reasons I was on today is because I was waiting for you to talk about and see what the update is.
Well, let's read through the last part of this, because this has some other information. It said, the discovery, Mancuso said, may hint at why investigators only discovered DNA from Kohberger's family members and not him after stealing trash from outside the family home. Stealing. Wasn't stealing.
Not stealing. No, they can do that. They can take your trash.
They can just take it. It's abandoned. Yeah. That's public property when it hits the curb. Pennsylvania police sent that junk to Idaho for testing, according to a probable cause affidavit. So they took the trash he had in the Ziploc bag and they sent it to Idaho. Investigators found that a DNA profile found from the trash. Oh, wait, we already knew that part. Idaho authorities have released little information about the case since Lada County Magistrate Judge Megan Marshall issued a sweeping gag order. So now you've heard about that. They're under a gag order.
And they're obeying it.
Last week, an unsealed search warrant revealed that items taken from Kohberger after his arrest included medical gloves, a silver flashlight, a pair of size 13 Nike shoes, and several items of clothing. The police also dabbed Kohberger's DNA at the time. Additional court documents were unsealed Thursday showing that a knife, but don't get excited, it was a folding knife, which is not the same knife, they said. It was just a pocket knife. A Smith & Wesson pocket knife. Oh, wait, they're saying a knife and a Smith & Wesson pocket knife?
No, I think knife, comma, the Smith & Wesson modifies knife.
Sorry, you're right. So it's a Smith & Wesson pocket knife, which is not the same knife that would have fit in that sheath. And a Glock 22 pistol with 3 empty magazines were found on Kohberger's parents.
So how many knives do I have sitting around?
You have a lot. We all know this.
And guns. Come on, guns and knives.
Right.
I love when they say there was an arsenal. It's like you had 500 rounds.
5 guns.
Like 500 rounds and 5 guns, that's nothing.
A cell phone, an Acer laptop, black face masks, and 2 containers of a green leaf substance were also confiscated from the apartment, along with several dark clothing items and a book with underlining on page 118. Kohberger's Hyundai Elantra, the garage, and a shed on the property were also searched. Police took a door glass, seat cushions, headrests, a seatbelt, a visor. Why didn't they just take the whole car, Steve? Why are they just taking it apart?
That's I don't know either. That's a good question. They should have taken the whole car.
They should have taken the whole car.
Yeah, I don't know.
A brake and gas pedals from the car, as well as hiking boots, a shovel, goggles, and other items. A shovel? Hiking boots? This is new news.
Yeah, but this is just stuff they're seizing. Does it have evidentiary value? I don't know.
Well, we don't know.
Yeah.
But was that from the car they took the shovel or from the garage? Because that would make a difference to me.
But there could be tons of stuff that's like a gun. There was no guns related to this crime.
No.
So who cares about the Glock 22?
Right. Nobody cares about that. It was his dad's anyway, so it's not relevant.
We're looking for blood of the victims on some of these items that are in his possession. That's going to be the key. I mean, although they've already got it. I mean, I'll tell you, the DNA on the snap of the K-bar is freaking game over. I mean, and plus that combined with the surveillance of his car, as well as him driving and being in the area, all of those things are very damning for him. And if the photos of the girl is on he's got one of the girls on his
well,
phone.
that's what we've been told. I can't corroborate that one yet.
Well, and then, so the evidence, now we're just piling up evidence. But, and when don't people get upset if he says not guilty, by the way? That plea should really be done away with. And I've got an essay in my head rolling around somewhere. What that really means is we defense attorneys haven't seen all the evidence yet, and we're not ready for trial.
Right.
So can we pass this until some future date, at which case we'll choose to either plead guilty or take it to trial? That's what a not guilty plea is.
Jacob, whenever I buy a new shovel, I always get some duct tape and tell the clerk, shh. I got 2 super chats to get through. Nikers sent $5. Thank you. Does the website have your email? Are you talking to Steve? I have a suggestion for a story. I think you could help a lot with the attention we need. Oh, you must mean me. My email is right here. Where's my email? I know it's on here somewhere.
I'm so glad you brought me on, by the way. This is so
I'm
sweet.
glad you're here.
It's so much fun being with you. You're one of my favorite people on the web.
Aww.
My internet friends. Oh, there she is. Look, you let it out. See, I thought I was special.
and let's see, Niker. So there's my email. And you also wanted to know, you forgot that Steve is an appeals attorney. I would really like to ask you some questions too, if I could email you.
Well, you can email me, but I'm a Florida appellate attorney who works for the public defender's office. So I cannot advise you unless you are assigned to me by the state. So I really cannot.
You can answer general questions, but not specific questions.
And even that, I'm very careful because people always give me like, well, here's the facts.
Yeah.
No, it's never the facts.
Yeah.
And so I'm very reluctant. You can email me, go to stevegosney.com and buy my next book, Prepare, which Megan Fox is on the back cover. My only endorser. Come on.
That's it? I'm the only one?
You are the only one. You are special.
That's so sweet.
Well, because I value you. And I think you are one of the people that I'm talking to.
Yes. I would agree that I'm probably the audience for that book. I'm excited about it. I can't wait. I'm saying Nikers wrong. Is it Knickers? Knickers, not Nikers. Sorry. But yeah, I can't wait for your next book to come out. Do you have a publishing date yet?
I'm waiting on Nick Rekieta to write the foreword. As soon as I get the foreword, it's off to the publisher. It'll be 3-week turnaround.
Great.
So it's all done and ready. Well, you are one of 3 people in the world who actually has a copy of the book.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Lightgiver says he could have buried the knife and etc. using the shovel. Well, that's what I was thinking. If the shovel was in the car, possibly, or it could mean nothing. But then again, let's hope it means something. Okay, so let's move on to the absurd story, though, because this is insane. Wait, where is it? Here we go. All right. Ladies, I got a bone to pick with you.
Oh, is he got fangirls?
Oh, yeah. Idaho murder suspect Brian Kohberger has distant admirers who lavish praise and question guilt. Let's see. There's a Justice for Brian Kohberger on Facebook with 3,000 members, which I tried to join, by the way, to see what kind of craziness was on there. So far, they haven't let me in. Created just days after his arrest. There's an R Brian Nation on Reddit, which is no longer there because as soon as the news reports it, Reddit deletes it, and I'm so bummed that it got deleted because I wanted to go read the craziness, with a thread titled, "What was it about Brian that got your liking?" It's like a bunch of fangirls for Brian Kohberger on Reddit. And R Brian Kohberger has another thread titled, "Why Brian Kohberger is Not Guilty," that garnered hundreds of comments. And there's a Facebook user who says she's a single mom from Kentucky and has penned dozens of love notes describing the suspect as her divine masculine. Yikes. Okay, so let's go over to that article because this lady needs, please don't go to her Facebook page and harass her though. Like just, she's got enough problems. It's still public. I went there this morning. It's crazy. I think she needs help. Her name is Brittany Hillslope. She claims to have a 16-year-old son and has written about feelings for Kohberger nearly every day, sometimes multiple times a day since January. Now, also, this could be an elaborate prank. It might not be real, but it's weird. I know, and this is the way she writes, you can't understand any of it. I know that the last I heard weeks ago is that Brian is being kept isolated from other inmates, and so I know that we do both likely sleep alone, as I mentioned in a past post, Hillslope wrote in her most recent post, which was dated shortly after midnight on Friday. Although I mentioned something about getting certain confirmations from him about his feelings and him being my divine masculine, I don't mean that I reached out to him to receive anything back at all from him, since I do that from a place of caring about him, sharing my feelings, and knowing what a serious situation he's in. Oh, God.
This is the thing. I mean, men have a lot to be embarrassed about with their sexuality and stuff, but women have their own little world. And so there is a little pushback here, and we can talk about the psychological reasons for this. But
so I found out that there's actually a name for this. It's called, what's it called? Did I write it down? It's called Hybristophilia.
Oh, really?
It's called Hybristophilia. It's a real thing. Let me show you what Wikipedia has to say about Hybristophilia. We're going to learn something here today. Hybristophilia is a paraphilia involving sexual interest in and attraction to those who commit crimes. The term is derived from the Greek word husbrizin, meaning to commit an outrage against someone. Many high-profile criminals, particularly those who have committed atrocious crimes, receive fan mail in prison that is sometimes amorous or sexual, presumably as a result of this phenomenon. In some cases, admirers of these criminals have gone to marry the object of their affections in prison. And the phenomenon in the culture is called Bonnie and Clyde syndrome. Now, the causes are interesting.
Oh, I like this. Yeah, this is interesting here.
Some speculations have been offered as to the cause of hybristophilia. Catherine Ramsland, who's connected to this case, as you all know, because she was Brian Kohberger's professor, a professor of forensic psychology at DeSales University, mentions that some of the women in particular who have married or dated male serial killers have offered the following reasons: low self-esteem and the lack of a father figure. Some believe they can change a man as cruel and powerful as a serial killer. Others see the little boy in the killer that the killer once was and seek to nurture him.
Yeah, these are right on.
A few hope to share in the media spotlight or get a book or movie deal. Then there's the notion, and this is my favorite one, of the perfect boyfriend. She knows where he is at all times. She knows he's thinking about her. While she can claim that someone loves her, she does not have to endure the day-to-day issues involved. In most relationships, there's no laundry to do, no cooking for him, and no accountability. And she can keep the fantasy charged up for a long time. It's crazy.
Interesting. No, I think that's pretty much right on.
Yeah. So
there's a lot of projection going on too, that, and there's also this, women, I think, are biologically wired to look for the alpha male, the person who's on top of the dominance hierarchy, if we want to go. And if there's a confusion here that somebody who's a mass killer must be the top dog because he's a super predator, and that she can bring her feminine guile and that, but there's an attractiveness to that, that this person's a killer. He's a real alpha male, right? I mean,
I can see that. I can also see,
especially when you don't have a good male role model, that you're misperceiving masculinity as violence.
Well, and also that type of personality or person, psychopath, who is capable of doing what they did, does project a certain level of, you're not going to F with this guy. Like he's gonna come out on top. So psychologist Leon Seltzer offered an explanation for this phenomenon of attracting female sex partners, serial killers, based on evolutionary psychology. Serial killers, in his view, are cases of alpha males that
somebody said that just a few minutes ago.
that tend to attract women. This is because such males were good at protecting women, and I can see that subconsciously, that guy is the greatest protector of all if he can do what he did. If he's good, if this is someone on your side on the but which is not, clearly. I mean, these people are delusional if they think that.
But there, especially when you don't have a strong male figure in the family, you can perceive that hyper violent type of thing that is strong, and it's not strong. A strong male is disciplined and focused and protective, but that is not a strong behavior, but it's perceived that because it's such a raw, primal type, almost animalistic type behavior. And so there's a confusion between that being an alpha male or being just a psychotic killer.
This is interesting. He says women today may consciously realize that it is unwise to date a serial killer, but they are nevertheless attracted to them, he stated. As a therapist, I've encountered many women who bemoaned their vulnerability toward dominant men who consciously, though they recognized, were all wrong for them. I think that's a common problem.
Yeah, it's just like men. They see a pretty girl, and she could be a killer herself, right? She could think of the woman
the business,
or the woman that stabbed the boyfriend.
Yeah,
it's like the TikTok girl. And it's like the guy knows that she's crazy.
He's like, I can fix her.
Well, or that he's like thinking, yes, but she's so pretty. If men have that physical attraction and they know that the woman's wrong for them, but they do the same thing. So it's not like the ladies have a monopoly on stupidity in this regard. I'm just saying it's different. It's focused on a different thing.
Right. Yeah, it's truly weird. And so Brian Kohberger they're trying to contact him. These women are trying to contact him. So far, I don't think that the law enforcement has allowed any of it to go through. So hopefully that will not become a thing. Let's pray it doesn't. All right. I've got one more thing to get to today. I know I'm rushing ahead because I have to get to the dentist. Oh, I forgot to show you this. Look at this. This was on Brian Kohberger's the Reddit page. Look at this nonsense. Wait, let me get up on the screen. This is the kind of thing they're doing on the Brian Nation or whatever. Photoshopping hearts onto his head. Like, come on, you guys.
This is such projection. Projection's a powerful force in our society. These are inner thoughts that you're projecting onto a blank slate.
Oh, it's so weird.
Yeah, it's a psychological thing. This is very much people that are not in touch with their unconscious. And, I will say, and I got to run too. So can I just make a plug?
Yeah.
Go to stevegosney.com and get Prepare, the handbook for individual freedom to liberate your mind, not only from tyrannies of our government, but tyrannies of your own mind. And here's a good example of tyrannies of our past, childhood issues of faith. It's the book is meant to design, and it's on the back. My only other person on the book, if Nick doesn't get his act together, he will be the only person on the book, is Megan Fox, who gave me a nice little roundup endorsement. And she has read portions of the book. And I think that it's really good. It's an important gift to humanity. I want to give to liberate your mind from this kind of tyranny. These people are enslaved by their unconscious. The women that are doing this, they have enslaved themselves. Free your mind from this type of unconscious behavior. Yep. Rise above the tribal basis that we all rise from, and rise above that to rise above the curve and become a liberated human being. Get Prepare. It's only available, stevegosney.com. It's on pre-order, and it should be out within a few weeks. So please do that. And I got to run too. I'm sorry I've got to go, but
no, it was great having you. It was a nice surprise.
Yes, thank you. It was a little surprised, but you were covering my favorite topics. I had to jump in.
Yeah.
I'll talk to you later, okay?
Okay. Thanks, Steve.
Goodbye.
All right, Steve Gosney, everybody. And Locals Chat has put the only reason I didn't go over the warrants for what they found is because whoever wrote this has handwriting like chicken scratch. And look at this. Would you please look at this handwriting? How am I supposed to read this? I can barely read any of this. The A's are not connected. Folder Lunthini? What's a Lunthini vehicle paperwork? Like, I can't read this. So instead of trying to make myself, instead of frustrate myself, I'm just reading it from the news reports because who writes like this? This is supposed to say dark. Does this look like dark to you? It says dunk, Donald, dunk. What? Who wrote this? Is this guy a doctor in another life? Because this is ridiculous. So I didn't go over these because, why didn't they type it? They know that everyone on the planet is waiting for these things, and yet they don't type. They don't type what they found in the search warrant. I mean, this is terrible. I tried reading it like 3 times, and I was like, you know what? Forget this. I'm not looking at this. I'll just read it from the news reports because I can't decipher. It's like Egyptian hieroglyphs. Who lets people write reports like this? If someone gave me this report and I was the captain, I'd be like, oh, no, no, no. You go back to your desk and you get on your typewriter, you type that out because this is terrible. I can't read this. I can't read this. We need better training. All right. I got to get to this lawsuit. If I don't get to it, we're not going to get to it today. And that's it on the Kohberger stuff. There really isn't that much else. There isn't anything else. But let's get to the PornHub story. Because this is important. Hold on. I probably won't be able to read through the whole thing because I'm going to run out of time. However, the New York Post let's start back in 2020 before we get to this lawsuit. The New York Post wrote this shadowy businessman is reportedly behind PornHub parent MindGeek. Now, by the way, you guys know how I feel about pornography. I think it's bad for you. I think it's bad for society. I think collectively it's actually done nothing but bad things for society. I think people who argue that porn is positive in some way are completely, I think the negativity overshadows anything positive you could come up with, especially things like this. Like I was listening to this podcast, and I'm going to play clips of it if I can get to it, by this investigator that was talking about how porn used to be like an industry that was almost like Hollywood, and they were, they had studios, and nowadays porn, anyone can make it. And so that's what has led to the genres of like people recording porn in libraries and in public bathrooms. And it's disgusting. And you can't regulate it. Like it's everywhere and it's everything. And it's out of control. So let's look at this New York Post article because it's going to relate to the lawsuit. The world's most powerful internet porn company is owned by a shadowy businessman who barely exists online, a new report says. Bernard Bergamar is the biggest owner of MindGeek, the Luxembourg-based conglomerate behind popular porn sites such as PornHub, YouPorn, and Browsers, a Financial Times investigation found. And by the way, if there are minors listening, you really shouldn't. You should not listen to this portion of the show. It's going to get extremely graphic. So please turn it down, put your headphones in. Don't listen to this in front of children. MindGeek had long kept Bergamar's identity a closely held secret that only a handful of company executives and their advisors knew about, according to the paper. Before Thursday, his name only appeared in 3 Google search results related to his past role as an executive at RedTube, a porn platform MindGeek now owns. While he's not mentioned in the company's corporate filings, which is so weird to me, why is that legal? Shouldn't you have to be listed in the corporate findings as the owner in the filings as the owner of the company? This is so shady to me. While he's not mentioned in the company's corporate filings, the Financial Times revealed that Bergamar is MindGeek's largest beneficiary, thanks to, in part, to a complex network of subsidiaries in which he owns a large chunk of the shares. For instance, MindGeek has a $200 million debt to one of those subsidiaries that's paid in installments as large as $1.8 million a month, adding up to the amount that outpaces the company's declared profits in some years, according to the paper. Seems shady. Bergamar declined to talk to the Financial Times, and the Post could not find contact information for him online. PornHub did not respond to an email Thursday asking about his role in the company. But MindGeek also reportedly has some better-known financial backers, including JP Morgan Chase, Cornell University, and Fortress Investment Group, a New York-based investment management firm. There were among 125 investors who gave the company $362 million in debt back in 2011 when it was known as Manwin and looking to expand, the FT reported. The funding helped Manwin boss Fabian Thielman grow his empire staff from 200 to 1,200 people and to set up dozens of corporate offshoots in places such as Cyprus, Ireland, and the Virgin Islands, the story says. JP Morgan, and the reason why this is important is because PornHub has been allowing child porn all over the site, and they've been sued multiple times. And yet we have these shadowy figures running this company and all these offshoots and these, of companies within companies, and nobody knows who's running them. And they have huge backers like Cornell and JP Morgan. What? And for some reason, my brain is screaming Epstein at me. Wasn't he involved in one of these Goldman Sachs or JP Morgans? JP Morgan and Fortress declined to comment to the FT, and Cornell initially told the paper that its investment managers' portfolios were confidential. But in a statement to the Post after the story was published, Cornell spokesman John Carberry said it cut ties with the fund manager that got the school involved in the MindGeek deal after looking into the matter. Our examination swiftly discovered that in 2016, this fund manager, one of our approximately 350 fund accounts, had invested in what was described by the manager as an online media distribution, of child porn. That investment, without our knowledge, related to a firm associated with exploitive online pornography. Although that same review determined that this investment had been removed from our portfolio in May of 2018 within days of learning of his past relationship and confirming this past unacceptable investment decision. Cornell immediately moved to sever its relationship with this manager and terminate this account. Thielman jumped ship from Manwin after German prosecutors charged him with tax evasion in late 2012. He sold the business to Ferris Antoon and David Tassillo, senior managers of the company who adopted the MindGeek name and still run it now. Actually, they've stepped down after the lawsuit was filed. There was a $500 million lawsuit filed. Then those two stepped down and jumped ship. So the revelations about MindGeek's ownership come amid scrutiny of PornHub, the popular free site that critics say is infested with videos of rape and child sex abuse. Yep, PornHub removed most of its videos earlier this week in an attempt to clean up the platform while it develops a new user verification system. The move came after payment processors Visa and MasterCard cut ties with the site. Okay, so now you have some background about what we're going to look at. Now, several lawsuits have been filed, class action lawsuits by women in California and in Canada, saying that they were exploited on this site, that they were sold and trafficked, and Pornhub wouldn't do anything to take it down. There's a new lawsuit, though. It was filed in October. It's new to me. I haven't seen it. I just saw it now. Now, this is very graphic. I'm warning you now. Don't listen to this with children. And if you are a child, turn it off. You shouldn't be watching this program anyway. It isn't for children. You don't need this kind of stuff in your brain, kids. Okay, hold on. Before I move on to reading some of this, I want to check the locals chat. Just so y'all know, the Google Sheet has new tabs to include warrant returns. What? Somebody printed out the warrant returns for me? Fantastic, Mimi. That's so awesome. Nice work. And Red Jen, thanks for the tip in locals. She says, your amazing stream with John Mueller, True Crime Tuesday, Inside the Mind of a Sex Criminal is not working. It was so good. Could you please get it working somehow? I have told several people they need to see it. Have you checked on locals? Because I'm sure YouTube took it down. I'm sure that they did that. But Are you telling me it's not working on Rumble? It should be. It should be there on Rumble. Let me know later, Regen, if you don't see it. And I have it, so I'll figure out something. But if you guys go to @SleuthyGoosey, SLEUTHIE Goosey with an IE on Twitter, she's got the warrant returns typed out. Fantastic. Okay. It's not working on Rumble. All right. I'm going to have to contact Rumble about that because I can't imagine why. There's no copyright issue there, I don't think. Wow. So it's still... All right. I will talk to Rumble about it. All right. Let's get to this real quick because I have... Oh, shit. I'm not going to get to this. I have to leave in 5 minutes. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to save this. We are going to read this. They're being sued by someone who says when they were 12 years old that there were multiple rapes of this child broadcasted on PornHub. And the defendant who broadcasted them, the creator, he actually went to jail, but they are now suing PornHub because they were told that this was child trafficking, child porn, and never took it off, wouldn't take it off PornHub. And this is a shocking lawsuit. Maybe I'll come back later tonight or later when I get back and we'll do it again because I've run out of time. I've run out of time and I can't do this today. I really wanted to, but just so you know, PornHub is it looks like it's going to get taken down. And I really want to know why this owner is so hard to track down and why no one knows who he is. And why is that allowed? Why is it allowed that a company that is making billions of dollars on pornography, on these homemade pornography videos that are not vetted, how is it that a guy like that can remain anonymous? And we're going to get into that later when I come back and do I'll read through that lawsuit. Maybe I can do it tonight. It just depends. Keep an eye on my locals, meganfox.locals.com. I will put any announcements there. And so you'll see when I'm going live. Don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. Join the YouTube memberships if you want to. Visit the merch store. Make sure to visit bastionboltactionpen.com because you can get 20% off one of these babies. I love this pen. Luxury pen. Meg20 is the promo code for a 20% off discount. It's fun to fidget with too. Makes a good noise. Okay, so is there anything else I need to tell you guys? I don't think so. Follow me on pjmedia.com. Make sure you're keeping up on all the news. And I will come back and we will do part 2 of this, hopefully this evening. I got to go and take my poor kid to get her cavities filled. I know she's not looking forward to it. And we will revisit this when I get more time tonight, hopefully. Hopefully. Yes. Okay. All right, everybody. Take care. Good to see you guys. Thanks for being here.
Lost, my world is near its end. I almost felt my head is full of a million choices. I am alive, I'm not here to pretend. I love my friends, my heart is filled with a million voices. Oh, this road has many choices. Oh, and my heart, million voices. Come next to me, my friend, embrace the sky. I'm not afraid to fly. It's not the time to say goodbye. Say goodbye. No, I don't wanna No, I don't wanna say goodbye. I know my road is near its end. I almost felt my head is full of a million choices. I am alive, I'm not here to pretend. I love my friends, my heart is filled with a million voices. Oh, this Embrace me, my friend, embrace the sky. I'm not afraid to fly. It's not the time to say goodbye. I don't wanna say goodbye. No, I don't wanna stay. No, I don't wanna say goodbye.
So I take it that
Johnny's
you've seen
problem is he
Tamara
should have
Johnny's
come
bedroom
storming
before.
in there with
Yeah.
a string of
Do you
garlic
recall what
and
he
some
went
holy
into,
water.
Mr. Jepson,
And a
as far
cross,
as
a crucifix.
bedroom?
May the
Do you
power of
recall,
Christ
or no,
compel you.
No, I don't.
You realize his house was infested with
Just after
succubuses.
that, there's a picture here with you of what it, yes. Do you
Suck
recall
you
what that was there
loaders.
when you arrived in the afternoon? I don't remember seeing it now. So while she
No wonder he said drown her before you burn her.
Oh my god.
You-
Your next witness?
Now I know
Witness
why you
Robert
wanted to
Melanie
drown her.
Iglesias,
Your
and that
next
is
witness
also
lives in
by
Romania.
video.
Is that correct?
That begins with Miss Vasquez.